Hey, so I've shot this video for you today as I'm hoping it's a bit of motivation to keep you going, right? If you're in the midst of trying to create a change in your life, a big life change, not just, trying to manifest a cup of coffee or a car parking spot. I'm talking like big changes, relationships, your wealth, like long-term wealth, your health, those main areas, and you've been trying for a while with different sorts of techniques, I want to give you just a bit of inspiration in this particular video. In my other videos, I talk a lot about the meeting your beliefs where they are as a way to sort of get in and build your momentum so that you're not swarmed with those doubts and that sort of self-sabotage and imposter syndrome and all those limiting beliefs. What we're going to cover today, as I said, I just want to motivate you. And this motivation, funnily enough, comes from a passage within the Bible. Now, I'm not a particularly religious person. I would say I'm more a spiritual person. I believe in God. I believe in Jesus Christ. I'm still trying to work out the other bits and bobs, right? Like we all are. We're all on a different journey in that aspect. But in these different texts, there are passages that always ring true. And this was a passage, I'm going to read it first of all, and then give my own interpretation because that's how I believe it should be. We interpret things ourselves on our own path. Now, this particular quote, which has always stuck with me, and I think it was also used by Neville Goddard in a way, and there are other people within the world of, reality creation and that sort of stuff who've used this quote, which is Matthew 17:20 from the King James Version of the Bible. And Jesus said unto them, because of your unbelief, for verily I say unto you, if ye have faith as a grain of mustard seed, ye shall say unto this mountain, remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible unto you. Now, this is just one variation from one variation of the Bible, and I know that there's other interpretations of this, but the overriding message is the same, and I want to interpret it in the way I see it, and hopefully it gives you some inspiration as well to sort of plant your own seed where you think, that kind of makes sense, because this is where I went wrong for a very long time when it came to trying to consciously create my life. Okay, I've always been someone who had goals when I was younger. It was goals, it was discipline, then it was vision boards, then it moved from vision boards to visualization, then it was feeling the future as real, and all these concepts sort of built. And as I moved into the world of the metaphysical approach, which is using your ability to visualize and feel your future as real, to move towards it and also attract it to you, this is the thing that looking back, I probably got wrong quite a lot, which was feeling like I had to fully embody the belief the whole time. Even from the sessions I was doing in my meditation, I had this, funnily enough, a belief that I had to feel as if what I wanted to create and attract was fully happening, right? I had to believe it fully in my body, I had to sort of think it rationally in my mind and hold this. Now, if you can do that, you're on to a winner, right? That is the like top level standard of this type of work, which is if you can embody and feel it as real and carry that feeling all throughout the day, you're on to a winner. But in this quote, and this is this section, this passage from the Bible, which is, if ye have faith as a grain of mustard seed, right? Mustard seeds are inherently very, very small. So the point of this is that even if you have a small amount of faith is all you need to believe in order to move mountains, in order to create big changes in your life. So as a sort of interpretation, whenever you're doing this work, right, rather than trying to force yourself, and this is just my suggestion, it's worked very well for me, rather than trying to force yourself to fully embody the end scene, the feeling as if that's very difficult, can you just have a small amount of faith that it's possible in the early stages of doing this? Now, why would you do this? When you don't do this, and I'm speaking from experience, when you try and embody this future and feel it completely as real, and then you go about your day and you're trying to, keep that feeling and keep those thoughts. But if you keep getting swamped, right, with negativity, and then those limiting beliefs crop up, then you feel those doubts, and then the frustration comes up, and then you're back at square one and you have to go back to the drawing board. If that's been happening for you a lot, this can be a really helpful concept, because now when you go and do your work, right, your creative work, whether it's through an affirmation, whether it's through visualization, if it's feeling your future as real, if you can just feel an element of a small bit of faith in the form of that it's possible to begin with, when you do this, right, and you practice this, what will happen is as you go about your day, because you haven't almost been an imposter or faked this, right, you actually believe what you're saying. Right? If I use an intention which is I am making $1 billion every single year, right, and I'm making $0 a year, that's a pretty tricky sort of belief to get into, right? But if I can make it more believable, and I could say my income target is something like, I don't know, $100,000 a year, right, and I'm making $30,000 a year, I could change that to, right, I know it's possible to make $100,000 a year. I know it's possible. I know, and when you bring up that intention, logically, you know there are people in the world that do that. And also, as a step, you think that's actually not too far away. So in the early stages of big goals, where you have areas of your life like wealth, like your health, like your relationships, where there's a lot of meaning behind them, this works really well. And it gets you out of that feeling frozen, where you're trying to change and it just feels like you're stuck in the same spot. And then weeks go by, then months go by, then years go by, and then you get to the end of this loop, and then it starts all again, and then you start it all again. Incredibly frustrating. Okay, so I hope it's not a particularly long video today, but it's just to reinstill some, funnily enough, some faith within you, that you just have to have a small amount of faith, the size of, if ye have faith as a grain of mustard seed, right? Grain of mustard seed, super small. If you can have that tiny little bit of faith, you can move mountains, and that's sometimes what it takes. So it always depends where you are, but if you've got a big area of your life you're trying to change, it can be so helpful. If you'd like some help with this and you want someone to guide you through this process, if you're trying to make big changes in your health, in your wealth, in your relationships, and you've got a good general knowledge of what you need to do in terms of visualization, feeling your future as real, you've done a load of techniques, you kind of got the concepts and the principles, I can help you. Okay, this is where I can help you. First of all, work out where your subconscious beliefs are. Like, where can you actually resonate with and believe? And when you do that, you can overcome and pass through this resistance, and I can help you build that momentum to start seeing things change, and then work on that momentum to a point where things actually happen, right? And it's an enjoyable process when you do it this way. It's not stressy, it's not forced, you're not overthinking if you're doing everything right. You actually get to be more present in your day, and you don't miss all these days in other aspects of your life trying to get this one thing to change. So if you'd like my help, you can see there's a link in the description which you can click. It's a short application. If you complete that, I will get back to you, and I do it in the form of a video proposal, right? I'll go through your application in detail and give you a personal response to how I think I can help you and what steps we can take. That's how I do things. So I hope this video was helpful. Keep the faith, right? And just, rather than ramp this up and think, I have to believe that I am completely wealthy or I am with my dream partner, if that feels too fake for you, just remember that you can move mountains with just a small amount of faith, that grain of a mustard seed. So thank you so much for your time, and I might see you in another video. Take care.